What up, everyone? This episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. We know how it is at this point. We've been talking about it. With HelloFresh, you get pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Here's what HelloFresh does. They cut out the sucky part of cooking. And I love cooking. Cooking is like literally one of my favorite activities. When I'm not working, driving cars, or talking about cars, I'm cooking meals that take a really long time. But even that, which is one of my favorite recreational activities, has sucky parts, like trying to decide what to eat, what to make, and then buying ingredients at the store that might not come in the appropriately measured quantity. So you have to either buy way more than you need of something or buy multiple packages of something to make the recipe that you need. HelloFresh solves this, right? They offer 50 menu and market items each week, including ready-to-eat salads, sandwiches, and soups, but also make-from-scratch items. There's something for everyone to enjoy with recipes designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. And you just choose what you want. They send the packages to your door each week, right? Contact free. And basically everything you need to cook that meal is right there in that bag, pre-measured, okay? And you get a really easy chart, recipe chart. You can just kind of glance at it real quickly to make this stuff pre-measured, pre-portioned, so there's really no food waste. It's great. It doesn't take up a lot of room in your fridge. Super flexible. You can always change your plan whenever you want. It was so good. Hannah and I kept doing it after our free ad read food ran out. We kept it going. The food was great, and it inspired me to cook things I wouldn't have thought to cook in my normal repertoire. It opened my horizons for cooking. You can too. Go to HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire14 and use code SmokingTire14 for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping, right? HelloFresh.com, SmokingTire14, and code SmokingTire14 for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping. Woo! HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. For a reason. It's delicious. I like it a lot. Speaking of things I like a lot, JB Weld. JB Weld is one of those things. Not only is it the world's strongest bond, it's so good at its job, it's like a verb, right? Like it's not just like, I'm going to fix this using JB Weld. It's, I'm going to JB Weld it, like Google. Like it's a verb. You JB Weld it to fix it. That's how you know something is like really good and efficient at its job, when it's so the standard that you can verb it up. It's amazing. Whether it's DIY projects, automotive repairs, plumbing, marines. I wouldn't fix a marine with JB Weld. There's probably an asterisk on the box not to use it on a marine. But marine applications like your boat, projects big and small at home in your garage, use JB Weld. In fact, JB Weld products can be used on practically anything: metal, wood, plastics, glass, ceramics, and more. Not marines. Non-humans. Non-humans.
When I was in high school, I cracked the Jeep bumper cover on our Jeep, and it was hanging off. And my dad used JB Weld to reseal it, and 15 years later, it was still there, still holding strong.
Yep. You can keep some JB Weld in the toolbox, keep it in your kitchen drawer, keep it in the back of your truck. Speaking of trucks, JB Weld acquired Herculiner, the original DIY truck bed liner. So if you're looking for the world's strongest truck bed liner, Herculiner has you covered there as well. Go be your strongest self. Use JB Weld, the world's strongest bond. JB Weld epoxy products are made proudly in the USA and available at jbweld.com, Walmart, Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's, AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, Napa, O'Reilly, Michaels, and more. JB Weld. Just JB Weld it. That's the tagline. JB Weld it. You know that like tagline? If you can't duck it, fuck it. If you can't JB Weld it, all hope is lost.
That's true.
Because JB Weld can fix the things you can't duck.
Just about everything.
You know? And of course, we're brought to you by NordVPN. Listen, privacy is good. Okay? And if you were going to say, take a poop in a public bathroom, right? You're probably going to close the stall door unless you're some kind of sick voyeur that wants someone to see into your toilet life. Now, think of your computer as your toilet life. In fact, depending on who you are, they might be one and the same. You don't want people looking in there unless you really do, but most of you probably don't, right? Close that stall door with NordVPN. You can access content from over 59 countries by changing your virtual location. Geo restrictions no longer become an issue. Plus, if you're traveling and use unsecure airport or restaurant Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi, that's your restroom. It's public Wi-Fi is where data hackers steal your data. You get on that Wi-Fi, your computer's unsecured. They're just sitting there at the cafe looking good. Maybe they got a nice jacket on. Maybe they're winking at you. Maybe they're flirting. It's not necessarily the 400-pound fat guy. They have good-looking hackers too. I've seen those movies. That's how they steal your stuff. If you use NordVPN, that's how you keep your peace of mind while you're traveling and using public Wi-Fi. Now, VPNs in general have a reputation for slowing down internet speed, but not with NordVPN. It is the world's fastest VPN, so you don't have to sacrifice internet speed for better security. Your internet traffic is rerouted through a secure encrypted tunnel, which protects your data and privacy. And you can also download NordVPN on up to 6 devices at once. Now, I know when I'm going to poop, I like to close the door. Some people might think differently, but I like to make sure that door is closed. Close the door when you poop on the internet as well. Go to nordvpn.com/smokingtire or use code TIRE to get a 2-year plan plus a bonus gift with a huge discount. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee if NordVPN is not for you, so there's no risk, but 2-year plan plus a bonus gift with a huge discount at nordvpn.com/smokingtire or code TIRE. And of course, our friends TCF, Tradecraft Farms, the official, entertainment provider of the Smoking Tire podcast. Whether it's cannabinoids, CBD, pens, aerosols, or just pure, delightful flowers, Tradecraft Farms has got you covered. If you are here in the Promised Land, California, where these types of things are available at retail outlets, pick up some at their Tradecraft Farms official retail boutiques. If you're not in town, just give them a follow. Tradecraft_farms. Let them know I sent you over to the gram. And then think about it when you do come to town. We've got you covered at Tradecraft Farms, the official THC and CBD provider of the Smoking Tire podcast.
Shows this week.
Cruise show,
and then I think we're going to run the Tory one because their show premieres on the 4th.
All right.
So that would be, yeah.
On this episode of the podcast, Zach and I talk about all the things we drove, which were plentiful. Zach attended the Gridlife Festival in Colorado. I drove a whole bunch of other things. I drove the Baja 911. I drove a cup car. I drove a Ducati motorcycle. And Zach and I break it down, and we answer your questions on this cruise show. It's the Smoking Tire Podcast. Is that a P1800?
Yeah.
But it's also like a Rambler. It's like part Rambler, and it's also like in The Simpsons. It's like if The Simpsons, if Ned Flanders came home in a P1800 one day, it would look just like that.
Yeah. It's what the...
Where did that come from?
I can't for the life of me remember the Instagram account. Someone hit me up. They're like, "Hey, this is what I do. I can knit whatever you want."
Wow! And in that color combination, you look like such an improv comic. I mean, you look like you were at the West LA Comedy Theater on a Tuesday at 11 p.m.
All right, what's my occupation?
Really working it out. Asking me to just throw something at you. Oh, hi everybody. Do we exist? It says we have no viewers. Does that mean we don't exist? Oh, there it is. There's some.
I feel like we were just a little the mic was a little hot.
Oh, was it?
Mic was a little hot.
Hi.
No, it's cool. Hi. And I'm going to put a lower third for
Balls.
whoever made this because I can't remember their Instagram account right now.
Yeah,
but
it's got that gym class gray heather happening.
Mm-hmm. Shows all the sweat stains.
It does.
Yeah.
It's on some people that color is just fucking fire, and on me,
I think most people
I look lumpy.
Gray's not a color. Gray is gray. And if you get sweaty, it's like spraying that stuff on a crime scene and all the blood shows.
Luminol.
You're like, oh, yeah. You know what the name is? It's luminol.
I know what luminol's called.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I've watched fucking Law and Order.
Oh, you've watched a lot. That's right.
I've watched a lot of Law and Order. It's luminol. Did you turn me down and also my headphones?
I turned both of us down.
I don't care about my headphones because it's just us. There's no one else.
But it looked like we were a little hot.
We were alone. We were all by ourselves. No one was looking. And we were thinking of you. Hey, everybody. Zach and I have had a real adrenaline spike and crash of a day. Now supplementing it at the late hour of 1:15 p.m. with high-grade THC and coffee.
Yeah. So much for sleep.
Well, this is what happens when you get up at 6 a.m. and have a big coffee and then go spend, 5 hours in the Guntherwerks, which is, ridiculously thrilling automobile, but also just when you go drive it fast and then you have to go back into the city and spend time driving it slow, it goes from like making you go wee to making you go
yeah. Well, the noise is the same whether you're going slow or fast.
True.
I think slow you hear more like little, not creaks really, but you got to pay a lot of attention to that car.
Well, when you've got like race car clutch and very light flywheel, it's the same thing that makes cars engaging in a lot of ways can make them tiring once you get past like hour 5.
Absolutely.
And also like when you're filming, it's like climb in the car, climb out of the car, climb in the car, climb out of the car, climb in the car, climb out of the car. And it's not a complaint. It just is what it is. And so we had to like really crank up the fucking caffeine for this one.
Yeah.
So if I get a little antsy in my pantsy,
get a little stressed, start yelling at each other.
Start fucking yelling at people. I yelled at someone through an email last night. I yelled the person that emailed. I'm not going to say who or what it was about, but the email, and Zach knows, an email came in which a person admitted to doing a thing I thought they did, and I screamed in my house, that motherfucker! And I really scared my wife. She thought something really bad happened. Nothing bad had happened. Hello, everybody. It's a good afternoon. We have, oh shit. I was going to say we have a lot to talk about. I wrote it down and then can you grab my office, my notebook from the office, please? We've driven a million things. Zach went to Gridlife. He drove a million things. He rode in a million things. I have driven like the most extreme. In the last week, I've driven the 992 Cup car, and now this Guntherwerks thing, which is like crazy air cooled, and then TJ Russell's Baja 911, which is like the 911 trophy truck. And
it's amazing.
Which is amazing. It was amazing. And look at this. I have a list. The list of things to talk about on the cruise show today is like very lengthy. And I don't even know what that is. I just wrote the word monster. What do you think that's about?
I have no clue.
I don't know. I didn't even finish the thought.
Energy drinks? No.
No, I'm not really sure. Maybe that'll... Oh, the Ducati Monster.
That makes way more
downstairs. Sense. Yeah, the Ducati Monster, if you want to get to motorcycles. But we've been... Like, Zach and I spent all morning together and avoided talking about Gridlife. So Zach's on the keyboard. Are you ready to discuss Gridlife?
Yeah.
What was it? It was Colorado. Pikes
PPIR, Pikes Peak International Raceway. They call it Alpine Horizon Festival. And
how does Xbox feel about that?
Very good question. Yeah. I was at the Forza Lounge. No, I wasn't. The unofficial Forza Lounge. I was not. Gridlife is so fucking fun.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Is it as fun as it was like 4 years ago?
Yes.
Oh, really?
It absolutely was. It is, someone said this very wisely. I don't want to drop their name, but it's what you wish SEMA was.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's just like...
Why don't you want to drop their name? Do they work for SEMA?
Because they sometimes work at SEMA. So as a person, if you're just a participant, just like a viewer, you're going to get access to the drivers because they're just around. There's no like... paddock pass, and there's general admission and there's VIP. General admission, like you go in the paddock and you can walk by the track and you can stand at the wall. Like you can basically get almost everywhere a media person could get. It just might take a little longer, but that's what's so fun about it. Like when you and I went there in 2015, we were hanging out with Vaughn and Chris and these people, and like we kind of knew them, but also random fans are just there also having beers with them or watching them drive or like chatting with them in the paddock. It just feels really relaxed.
Is PPIR the appropriately sized venue for like the camping and all that stuff? Because like that was what was good about Gingerman, but like not great about Road Atlanta. Was like at Gingerman, like they made a camping city as opposed to Road Atlanta, where it was all so spread out that it was like really hard to like for it to feel.
I think this is the right size. The camping, I don't know how many people were camping compared to at Gingerman, but camping was all basically underneath the big bleachers. Like it was VIP camping if you want to be protected from the rain, which happened. It rained every day.
Really?
A little bit for like an hour. And then there was other camping just out like in this parking lot right here. But I'm looking at the overhead Google view, and you could walk from the paddock to the the campsite parking lots in like 5 minutes if there wasn't any line or security or anything like that. So it didn't feel too spread out. It was a lot like Gingerman, which is good. Because I think the challenge with this event is there is so much to do or see. Genuinely, like I was hanging out with the Rallycross guy or the Rally Ready guys, which had built a like 1.5 mile rally stage course just up here outside of the track on the grounds, which is sick.
That's
it was
awesome.
like it was a legit long course. It was all up here. This stuff.
Oh yeah, there's some like dirt. I see some like dirt roads. Yeah.
So
it looks like there is a rally
gone.
stage there.
This is like an old photo because Dave, who owns Rally Ready, he cut a trail. But if you were there watching, like, I mean, who was out there? Bucky Lassick was out there, and then Vaughn Gittin showed up with his Ultra 4 and was like, I'm just going to do some dirt testing. So he was just destroying, like running up the track hardcore in that thing. And then if you wanted to walk back in to watch the guys drift, like you had to go through the security lines again, and that took a bit of time. So there's just a lot to see.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to pick which one you want to choose for the next couple hours. But it's just so fun. I think it's just everyone's out there having a good time, driving hard. Fucking night drifting. There's night drifting with lasers happening. It's
what kind of lasers?
Like a laser show, and because
like
there's
on
so
the cars?
much. No, the lasers. The cars are all lit up with their various LED companies now.
Right.
But they have lasers from the far wall shooting across the entire track, and because there's so much tire smoke in the air, it just they light up a lot. It just adds
play Pink
to
Floyd?
the pomp and
Is
the.
it a whole,
they should be
like-
playing Pink Floyd, but you won't be able to hear any of it, dude. It's just such a good time.
That sounds like fun.
It is fun. It's fun. And there's the funny split. There's people like you and I and most of the drivers who are like in their 30s, late 20s, and they're like, all right, we're going to drive. We're going to have some beers afterwards with our friends and da-da-da. And then you have like the Send It crew who are 20 and they came for the concert and they barely know the cars are going to be there. And they're just like so many different colors of hair, clothing.
I always thought that was a
like
fun
hanging,
crossover. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Who
funny.
performed? Anyone like I would have heard of?
Lupe Fiasco performed.
Oh, really?
Which is good. Yeah, he performed on Friday, and then
That seems like an expensive get, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what he cost. Flostradamus, who's an EDM artist I'm not familiar with, but apparently pretty popular. And then the Suicide Boys. Saturday was the Suicide Boys and Young Gravy. Do you know who Young Gravy is?
Should I?
He got famous on TikTok for his song "Oops, Baby," and well, to each
Is it a
their
good
own.
song?
It's, here's what I'll say.
Young Gravy.
When I went to
Wait, what happened that resulted in the oops?
It's
Just
like
wondering.
I think the storyline is that he had sex with another man's girl and didn't know. Oops, baby.
Oh, so it's
Fucked
like a
your bitch
modern
in the
like
coop, baby. Did
it wasn't.
it 5 times.
It wasn't
as a whip,
me.
baby.
It wasn't
yeah,
me.
it's exactly like that.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, but I mean the crowd. The
Did you
crowd
even
was
call me on
stoked.
camera?
It was so fun. I was talking to like some 22-year-old or whatever in the parking lot, and he's asking about the GTR, and I'm trying to explain the press car system to him.
Mind
like he's
blown.
a couple in at that point, and he doesn't really understand, but mind blown for sure.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, there's all these cars drifting. I'm here to watch that. And he just looked back at the track. He's like, oh. Like he wasn't there for that.
didn't know
was
it
there for Suicide Boys, and he was so stoked about it. So it's a funny mash of a group.
That I liked that corner at Gingerman where those people would sit on the banking of that grass there.
Yes.
And like pretty much absorb motorsport for like the first time.
Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of that, and especially because at night, on Friday night, there's the concerts happening while everyone is drifting.
Yeah,
like
it's like overlap.
Vaughn, Chelsea, and all the other people that are like privateers who are just doing it for fun are all just coming in so hot, dark track, other than their headlights and a few lights around. And I asked Dio Shahar, he was there drifting a Falcon car. I was like, is it harder? I don't know why he said this, and I thought it was an interesting question because it's so obvious, but I was like, is it harder to drift at night? And he's like, yeah. You can't see anything.
You can't see anything during the day either, so that's why I think it's kind of a reasonable question.
Don't really know.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't see the markings on the ground. They're not lit up. I'm like, that's a good point. I'm an idiot. Yeah. It was fun. It was real fun.
It does seem hard.
Drifting at nighttime, it's looked really hard.
But in fairness, like to me, like tandem drifting in a big cloud of smoke in the fucking middle of the day would be really hard too.
Yeah, those guys that just look through the smoke somehow.
White
and, like,
out versus blackout.
With their third eye.
It's a difference. The word out is involved.
Yeah, true.
You can't fucking see.
Yeah. I don't think there weren't any big crashes on the... Oh, and then... Lauren Healy was drifting his Ultra 4 truck, which is like just like Vaughn's, behind all the drift cars at night. So you see like normal cars coming along the wall, and then all of a sudden this fucking ox is chasing them, doing four-wheel. He had four-wheel drive, doing four-wheel smoky burnouts, and actually
like
doing
Larry
the transitions.
Chen's, like tripod mounted on the nose of it.
No, but he was chasing them.
Yeah,
he was out there chasing them, and he gave me. Two of his pins. He got a camera car pin now, kind of like the Lee Keen little pin.
The Lean Customs one.
The Lean Customs one.
You know what you shouldn't
Super
do with
cool.
that?
What?
Don't give it away.
No, it's mine.
Because
I already stuck to my backpack.
Yeah. Well, don't put it there either, because do you know what those things sell for on the internet?
I don't
These
care.
nerds.
Really?
I'm just saying you don't want to lose it. Is all.
Yeah, I don't want to lose it.
Like, remember I got 150 of them for the Safari, and then what I didn't know is the guy who makes them, he then also makes 150 for himself. So there's 300 total, and I get 150, and he makes 150, and then he sells them, one at a time. And I'd never fucking seen these things before. I spent like $200. They were cheap. It was like $200 for all of them. I gave them all away at Luft in like 10 minutes, and then I found out like a year later that they're like $1,000 on eBay.
What?
Literally 4 figures for one of these dumb pins. Seriously. And I gave away 125 of them in 8 minutes. I was just like
$1,000.
I fucking made it rain pins for like 5 minutes at Luft, and I realized a year later that the 3 I have left of my car are worth like more than $1,000 each.
That's insane.
Yeah, they're individually numbered. Yours has got a number on the back of it.
That's insane.
Yeah. Don't give it away.
Them.
Don't.
I'm not
No, you should like it.
Geez.
Keep it. Yeah, keep it. Like, if I knew, I would have kept like 80 of them.
Yeah.
But like, the backpack is a dangerous place.
Yeah, it is. I'm testing to see. I don't know how well it's going to stay on.
Because Larry had one made of his other car, of his like last car or whatever. The Z or whatever it was
240,
also.
yeah.
And it fell off my backpack. And I caught it. It fell off in my house, fortunately. But like, that could have gone either way.
Shit.
Yeah.
Because I want to have it somewhere that I see it a lot, because I think they're super cool.
You know where the dope place was? I had one of the ones in the dash of the Safari.
That's a good idea.
In the dash, it matched. It was nice.
I could just glue it to my dashboard or something.
Yeah, you could hit it on the visor.
Mm-hmm. That's a great idea.
The visor's good.
Yeah, because this could come off the airport or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. You don't want to lose that shit somewhere, and then someone else picks it up, and you're like, "Huh, what is this?" And they Google it, and it's $1,000 fucking dollars.
Right? Yeah.
It's crazy. If you go down the eBay rabbit hole of those pins, like I don't know. Some of them are more. I mean, someone sent me one that was like $2,500 of a Keen car, because I guess there's a bunch of the Keen guys get them made.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's all of them, but like the super nerds must have them all.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll sell you my Larry Chen one for like $10,000. I will.
All right.
And I'll buy him a really nice gift for $1,000.
I'll give you $10,000 in cunt coin. It's my new coin. It's an ICO coming out.
Now, why does it have to be on the blockchain? Explain.
Because when I inevitably sell the NFT of it, it's going to be worth twice as much.
That'd be like, so a girl could never lie to you about how many guys or girls she's had sex with. All of them have to be on the blockchain.
All the
That's the
blockchain.
pitch.
Yeah. Last night I was thinking about what Missy said about, or what we were talking about, how people who have their heads frozen and their whole brain downloaded as an NFT, and then whoever owns it could just fucking sell off a little slice at a time. That would be crazy.
Sell off the thoughts.
What
or
if
the genetic material.
Yeah.
That's what...
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Maybe in 100
stem
years,
cells.
23andMe will just start selling genetic material of famous people.
23andYou.
Yeah, exactly. There's a bunch of fine print, man.
23andMe and you. Yeah, and then the government knows about every impregnation. Perfect. So Gridlife sounds awesome.
Dude, so fun.
What's the next one?
I don't know what the next one is. They have so many. I think. Oh, Gingerman is actually next.
Really?
It's in September.
It's in September instead of like June, like it was before.
Yeah,
that's nice. That's a good time to be in South Haven.
We could go.
We could go. All right.
I rode in the Drift Taxi with Alex Yeager. He's the guy who's driving on Forsberg's team now. I did not get to ride in the new limo, unfortunately. I had a very good time. So Ron Zaris was out there from Hoonigan. Do you know him?
Ron,
he's their
I don't think
brand
so.
director.
Okay.
He has a Red Hawk 7, a bunch of other cars.
Oh,
he's
yeah, right, yeah.
So he was out there hanging out with Rally Ready and just doing stage practice stuff. And so he took me around for a lap. And Dave wanted me to drive. He's just, I don't know. He's like, oh, you're here? Yeah, see if you can get in the seat real quick. So Ron's like, all right, I'll take you around and show you the course. So as we drive around, and Ron is very quick, by the way. In his bracket race later, he was only half a second behind his instructor. Like,
nice.
He's fucking quick. Everyone over at Hoonigan's pretty good, but he's, I think, like the quiet assassin. So he takes me around, and I have only been around the track at this point in Dave's Dodge 1500, and that was at nighttime. So I don't really know where it goes. So he's like, all right, now we're going to trade. I'll go right. Ron's going to be right seat, and I'll drive. And he's like, I'll call out the stuff. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I've barely been around this thing. I'm going to go like 70%. I just want to have fun. I don't want to do anything stupid. And it's you get strapped into a race car.
Yeah.
You tighten the belts.
By the time you hit second gear.
By the time I hit second gear, I'm like, we're going flat, baby. I know where this goes. Like, and he's
sending it.
He's calling it out. There's 2 jumps. They're small, but like I'm going full throttle over there. Everything's going well, and he's going, okay, this is like a 3. Go down a little bit. And he's like, this one tightens. This one tightens. This one tightens. And then he gets quiet. And I had gone too hot into this like 4th gear corner, and I everything was okay, but I just drifted out and like grazed the edge of the berm and kind of rode it like a surfer on a wave. And it was so funny that he was talking the whole way around until things started to go kind of wrong, and then he got quiet.
Real quiet, yeah.
Yeah, he got quiet one more time on that lap before we hit the finish line.
Some people get loud, other people get quiet.
Yeah, I went a little hot, but it was so. But dude, rally cars, this thing has like 120 horsepower.
No, was it?
It was 2.5 RS.
Oh,
like 97 cage, all the stuff. NA motor, but it doesn't matter. It just it feels like you're going so fast.
It doesn't really matter.
It's so fun, and you're hitting jumps and banging off of stuff, dude.
Did anyone have like a Sierra or a cross kart or anything out there?
They had a couple of STIs. Bucky's car has an STI motor, but it's in a 2.5. One guy showed up. He was testing his unlimited class hill climb car, which was a fucking 2nd gen Camaro with a very angry engine with electronic limiter and like big knobby tires. Dude, he got up and went. It was watching him leave the line was sick. It was really, really
cool. On the rally stage?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, he was testing it for hill climb. I don't know if they got a shot of it, but
how do you not get a shot of that?
I don't know. They were doing a lot of stuff.
That's the only thing I would end up taking a picture of all day.
Dude, it was so. Oh, and then one of the more amazing things. I don't know if I've. Oh, this guy had.
Is that a Z3 M coupe?
Z3 M coupe
rally car?
Yes.
Sick.
Yeah, a lot of oversteer. Sounded great.
Is it an M or
I don't think
it's
an M, just a Z3.
Wow.
This thing ran all day. It looked like this. It looked like the most fun. This was that might be Bucky's car.
Yeah, it's a nice little RS.
I think this dude set the record for the day. They did a bracket, and this is also like a hill climb rally car.
Like a 04 STI.
Yeah, it was really quick. This guy though had a E30 with like truck tires almost, like a little. He was sitting a little high. It looked like there were going to be some tire rub, and I was volunteering as like safety truck, so I sat up on the hill for a while and like watched people and helped tow some people out. And I'm watching him come up the hill, and he hits the first jump, and then he comes around this corner and he hits the second jump, and all of a sudden his wheel and left front suspension are ahead of his vehicle.
Oh no, is it going?
No, it's airborne. It is fully fucking above roof height airborne, flying into a field. And he is following because he can't steer anymore. So this photographer, his Instagram's Leif, L-E-I-F, he was one of the shooters there. He got an amazing sequence of E30 ejecting suspension and it flying off into the distance. Yeah, and the car went quite far. So,
is he okay? I mean, it was all right?
The thing, dude, I don't know if it's a thing with just rally people. They're so used to this. I was like, hey, man, that sucks. He's like, oh, it's okay. I'll just put a new control arm on it, and we'll get it jacked up, and I'm going to strap it to your truck, and we'll try to raise that side off the ground, and you'll tow me over there, and then I'll get the trailer up here on the grass, and he sat out in the middle of 99-degree heat and bolted new suspension parts on so he could roll it on his truck, and he didn't complain at all. He was just like, yeah, this thing's done pretty well.
It's probably not the worst thing that's happened to that car.
Maybe not. He's had it for like 10 years and used to drift it, and now he rally races it. But
good for him.
But that shit was a really good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, super fun. I recommend anyone go. Camping depends on how old you are.
Right. Yeah. Has anyone grown up and brought like a luxury RV?
Surprisingly, no.
Really?
I mean, Dave from Rally Ready, he had an RV. I maybe saw 2 more.
Really?
Yeah. I think the hotels were close enough. But I think an RV is the way to go.
It is.
It's totally the way to go.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with the back and forth. But you definitely want somewhere that's your
some respite. Yeah.
Yeah, and dry.
Yes.
And a shower.
Yes.
And a place to poop.
Yes.
Ideally.
All of those things.
Ideally, all of those things.
Yeah.
While you were out, let's see. I drove the Baja 911 with you. Not while you were out. We could talk about that. Mm-hmm. I drove the 992 Cup race car.
Jeez.
We can't talk about the IS 500 because it's embargoed until September
of next year.
The Cup car is craziness. It is just like the amount of front grip that this thing has with 305s at the front. And on that front Venturi, like the street car has too, but the insane amount, 305 slicks at the front, I think 345 slicks at the back.
Whoa.
Turn 1 at Brainerd, which is the fastest right-hand corner in North America. I did not have the balls to do what Lee did, obviously, because Lee is being paid to drive that car, and my only job is to not crash it. And I only got 2 sessions, which is not enough time to maximize a race car if you aren't already the best race car driver ever. Lee took turn 1 at 170 miles an hour flat without lifting.
No, thank you.
At the end of a very, very long front straight. I lifted and brushed the brake for a half a second and then went back on the pedal, and that was enough to go from 170 down to about 140.
I would only feel comfortable turning at 170 in a plane. That's in the air. That is way too fast.
It didn't, if you look at Lee's in-car, it doesn't look like that big of a deal. It's banked a bit.
But there's that one shot where he hits the bump and then he has to counter steer.
If the difference between shot 1 and shot 2 on his Instagram is what happens when you hit that apron at that speed. Like,
oh my God.
In the first lap, Lee told me to hit the apron, and if you hit the apron at 135 or 140, it's no big deal at all.
Wow.
But at 170, it's like, oh, Jesus, but the first video he has is not, it's not dramatic at all if you place the car right. It doesn't look dramatic, but like, that's because you already know. If you don't know that that's actually possible, you're not going to find out in 20 minutes.
No. Yeah, the learning curve is very steep.
It's the learning curve to get to from nothing to competent is pretty easy. Like if I had a whole day with like coaching and data logging, like one day, call it like 6 30-minute sessions or whatever with data log and coaching, I could absolutely be at a pace where I could like be in one of those races. Not fucking podiuming, in. You know what I mean? Like gentleman driver pace.
Right.
Like it's a very friendly car. I mean, it's a fucking race car, so it has its intimidations, but in general, like I got up to pace like pretty quickly, and it's like pretty user friendly. Like it does have a clutch for starting from 0, but after that, it's just, you know, right foot braking. You don't need a left foot brake really at all. Lee doesn't left foot brake. Paddles, a nice user friendly steering ratio, a blower system that blows air on you, very legible gauges and shift lights. Good brake feel, and an engine that, because it's the same as the street car engine, but you have so much more grip, you know, you can be pretty liberal on the throttle, and you're not just going to like oversteer it. You know, 13-inch slicks, you're not going to like spin it because you used a little too much throttle.
Right.
You know, you can be pretty liberal. It's not like that, like the M6 or M8 where it's like some giant turbo engine, you know, that you have to like maintain the torque. It's like relatively low torque relative to the tire, although it's a pretty light package, you know?
I hadn't really thought of that, but yeah, the amount of grip, it's 500-ish horsepower.
Yeah, it's like so much more grip than power, you know?
How does the suspension feel when you hit the apron or something like that? Like, you know, everyone thinks race cars are super stiff.
It doesn't feel any stiffer than the street car at all. It feels pretty, I mean, you know, you're strapped into a hard seat, so your perception of stiffness is a little different, right?
Right.
And you've got a cage, which is so much more stiff than the street car just because, you know, but the actual like suspension of the car, kind of the same, you know, kind of the same. It rides nice. Like it was comfy. Like if I was in an endurance race and had to do like a 60-minute stint in the car, like that'd be cool. No problem. Like comfy. Lots of room. Adjustable, tilting, telescoping, steering column. You know, like big like Scrabble tile sized buttons for the main thing.
Like an old person's phone?
Yeah, so you could just kind of punch shit with a glove on.
Were you adjusting stuff while driving at all?
No,
okay.
I didn't. You don't really. Even Lee said you don't even really need to change much while driving. Like he's pretty comfortable, and like there's some shit on the wheel that you can adjust. Like you can change the brake bias. There's like, and it sounds dumb, but there's like a regular mode and a sport mode. It's not really. It's like accelerator position 1 and accelerator position 2, and like 2 is sharper than 1. It might be like a rain thing or something like that, and it has a thing that says that you can adjust traction control, but Lee said it didn't have traction control, so I don't know. I think for Cup Series it run without traction control, so you might be able to get it, but not. It didn't have it. Okay. So there wasn't traction control. There is ABS. And like, you know, it was pretty. He was just like, all right, and this button does this button does this. Flip that switch, start it, and you know, go. It's great.
It just drives like a great car.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really any compared to some of the other race cars I've driven. It's not hard to drive at all.
Does it feel different though? Because I think most of the race cars you've driven that I can think of were front engine. Like the Turner cars are front engine. Do you feel the difference in this one?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's like a GT, like all the other 911s I've driven. It's that as opposed to the but even the
because they didn't move it forward in this like they like
not in the like the RSR.
Right.
No,
okay.
it's GT3.
Okay.
It's the same as the 992. It's big though. It feels big, and you're sitting big, down low in it. So it's like it's a big thing. But I was on the track by myself, so its bigness doesn't really come into play when you're on a big racetrack and you're the only car, you know. But like when it rained like as I was driving to the track. Like I flew to Minnesota, got in a rental car, and as I'm driving the 3 hours to the track, it rains. And so they don't have rain tires. It's Brainerd. So so I get there and the track is soaking wet. It's still raining.
Oh my God.
And they're just like, yeah, well, we're just gonna wait and hope it stops. And it did stop. And we went out in rental cars, 4 rental cars, and we did like 25 laps in rental cars. We did a lot of laps in the rental cars. Like I was like, you know, at one point I'm like driving, we're in a train of rental cars and I'm literally driving on the track and like texting my wife, like while, because we're just running lap after lap after lap.
Trying to dry the course out.
And then once it was dry enough, Lee went out in the race car to dry it some more because that dries it faster. And then eventually it was good. But it's like, it's still like, you know, it's nerve-wracking when the racing driver comes in and goes, okay, the track is now dry enough for you. You know what I mean? Like, is it? It's dry enough for you?
For everybody?
Is it? Yeah. And I'm like, huh. But
what if I have a moment while driving where I'm not me?
Yeah.
Then too wet?
It turns out it was fine. You know, I get bugged out with race cars in the wet, dude.
Hell yeah.
Borrowed $350,000 car on slicks on a, you know, I guess it was familiar by the time I ran 30 laps in a rental car, but like relatively unfamiliar place, you know. So it was intimidating, the experience, but once I was like a few laps into the car and going, I was just having a really good time. Like I wasn't really concerned with the fact that I didn't go set a fucking qualifying time and they weren't like, we're going to sign you to a deal. You know, I wasn't embarrassing. That's the best you can do. You don't have a crash and you don't have an embarrassingly slow time.
I mean, you can learn what you're trying to learn by driving 80%.
Yeah.
You know, and what you're trying to experience without trying to set a lap time and get on the team.
Well, and I asked Lee, you know, this is the new car, right? You raced the old Cup car. You've raced all the Cup cars. What makes this one what it is? And he goes, it's so comfortable.
Really?
Yeah. He was like, it's so easy. It's so comfortable. Like they finally like listened to the drivers and like made things like really adjustable and like really easy to change settings and the gauge cluster, and it's all just like really nice, easy. I mean, mechanically what's different is the shift actuation is electric, not hydraulic, as is the steering.
Wow, okay.
That's the main thing. You know, and you have that double wishbone front suspension like the thing gets, but as this being my only Cup car, I can't compare it. I can tell you the handling was fucking astounding.
Yeah.
But I can't, you know, I can't say it's, you know, whatever. It's 1% better than the old car. 1% faster. That's like a number that sounds like nothing unless you're an engineer or racing driver, and then you realize it's like a lot.
Wow.
You know, but from the driver's perspective, which is what I was a little more concerned with from Lee, he's like, oh yeah, no, it's really comfortable, easy, forgiving, friendly, and the interfaces with the car are like really, really good. So it's cool.
Yeah, easier to drive.
Yeah, so as I wrote a few words for Road and Track, print, and then we'll have the video, I don't know what, next week?
Sure.
There's no embargo. We don't have to wait for Road and Track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then,
no, this
we
is
do
no, it's not a big feature. It's just a little sidebar.
We have so many videos. It's like, what do you want? I feel like a buffet owner.
No, but a bunch of people drove the Cup car, and so I do want to we want to do ours first. Yeah. But it was great. And then we went and drove the Baja 911 after that. Like,
yes.
You want to talk about some fucking opposite day. Like, brand new, water-cooled, big, aero, downforce race car but then 2 days later to go out in the desert with TJ Russell and drive the Baja 911, which is a 911 trophy vehicle.
It's a pre-runner.
A pre-runner.
It's like a pre-runner with a 911 body on it. I mean, it's built from ground up, of course, but that's the mashup that it is. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
to be rich.
And I had been in a couple different time zones in like 24 hours and not treated my body very well by eating, you know, travel food and whatnot. And I was grumpy at the start of this day. This thing will turn your mood right around.
Yes.
I mean, I realized that people probably wouldn't have a lot of sympathy for me going to drive a race car and then going to drive this and being grumpy, but these are not related items. These are not related things. The job isn't related to that.
Well, because your body still gets tired. It doesn't matter how cool the things you're doing is. Your body has a certain system and a certain amount of energy, and you are draining it.
I depleted.
Yeah.
So, but this thing is holy shit. So, more folks have probably seen the Singer off-road concept thing that got some press last year than have seen this. But what they don't really know, and what TJ Russell is too humble to say, is that like he presented this concept to Singer. They passed on it, and he went and built it himself, and he wasn't just a random guy who presented. He worked there, or he did a lot of contract fabrication for them, and they didn't want to do it, so he went and built this thing, and it's so crazy.
It's amazing,
and it actually feels like a really finished product. It's not like a janky prototype. The fabrication's excellent. It has a completely finished interior. It's
got
not
a really nice, almost like luxurious interior. It's done like green leather with some brown accents. It looks amazing. I think the white exterior is gorgeous. Just like leather around some of the door bars and stuff. I mean, it was a really cool mix of luxury and then extreme off-road speed.
Yeah. And it's a 3.8 Rothsport engine. Rothsport also makes the Gunther motors, and so it makes about 350 horsepower or so, and it can be either rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. It was set up for me in rear-wheel drive. It has 12 inches of suspension travel, Zach, and there's the interior. It looks great. The gearbox, even though it's an air-cooled car, the gearbox is a 996 turbo gearbox, so it has a water-cooled car shifter feel, even though it's an air-cooled engine, which is kind of interesting. It's very comfortable. It does not have AC, but actually, it didn't get too hot in there. I was surprised at how not hot it was. Maybe it's just because you're always moving when you're driving it. It's just because you're not stopped.
Yeah, and we're in the desert.
But more importantly, the fucking thing, it's just so easy to go really, really fast in sandy washes and stuff. I drove it up a trail that I was sure it wouldn't fit in, and I was sure wouldn't make up because it was too steep, and I got really nervous, and you'll see it in the video, but it actually did it shockingly well. It was so fun.
I wrote it in. Just anything with suspension of this caliper is a special feeling. It's a very unique automotive experience. But then you factor in the sound of it, the way it revs, how quickly it seems to get up to speed. Even it's NA, but it's pretty light. I think it was like 3,000 pounds, something like that.
Yeah.
And it just floated over stuff. Or
and the weight
transfer,
stuff. Like the accentuated weight transfer, like you'd hit the brakes and it would dive forward, and you'd fucking smash the gas and it would rock back. You could really lean it and flick it, and like that exaggerated weight transfer can be used to make the thing move like really well. And you could just what I was really impressed with is how fast it accelerated on sandy wash, despite being a rear-wheel drive car. I mean, the rear engine obviously is really helping you because you can feel the front just like skating over stuff, but you're still accelerating like very, very hard.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, really I think I saw like almost 90 at one point.
He was ripping through the gears.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the gear ratios are shorter. I can't remember what he said, but it's like thing fucking went.
Yeah, I saw like the top of like middle to top of fourth.
And in sports car, like lifted sports cars, so great because, like you're saying, you can feel all those motions, which your car does that when it's when it's set up as a sports car. It's just not as obvious. It might lean over an inch or two.
Right.
But like this exaggerates it, and you can understand weight transfer better and what it can do to traction, and then you could go apply that on the road course too.
Yeah, it is. It would almost like, I mean, it's kind of crazy to call like a $500,000 Porsche toy, a training tool, but if you'd spent a lot of time driving it, you'd really learn a lot about how to transfer weight in order to initiate a slide, maintain it, and then exit it.
I mean, I think just driving a car on dirt will teach you so much about that. But this
you don't have to buy this to do that.
This is just an amazing one.
This is
so great.
It was so next level. And the engine, it's a 3.8, but besides that, there's nothing particularly, don't get me wrong, Rothsport makes an excellent engine, but it's an NA air-cooled engine. It has a lot of cooling. It has a big NACA duct is it NACA duct? I guess it's a NACA duct in the bottom of the rear window, and it has a big external oil cooler that is the size of like a economy car's radiator. It's like a huge oil cooler with electric fans, because this thing is designed with just the addition of low door bars to enter it at Baja. TJ says this thing, he looked at the rule book or whatever, and this thing will pass tech at Baja if you just add the low door bars. But he didn't want to put them because they're fucking annoying.
Right.
Unless that's actually what you're going to go do with one. So like...
Which someone should.
But like if you wanted to pre-run, or if you wanted to just go play, or if you wanted to use it as a toy in a snowy climate or a desert climate, like, holy fuck, this thing is hella fun.
Yeah. And it stayed really cool. We were at 100 degrees when we were there.
Yeah.
And that oil cooling system worked because he turned the fan on and the oil temp was like under 200.
It went down to 165.
Yeah.
Because it's meant for Baja. So if you could run it at redline for a day, you know what I mean, or 2 days with that type of oil cooling going on. Because that engine ran at like Le Mans. You know what I mean? Engines like that run 24 hours of Le Mans, 24 hours of Daytona, with smaller oil cooling than he's got.
That's
here.
Very true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's an endurance setup.
I think it looks so awesome.
Yeah, and he's got but he understands that like not everybody's going to go for that craziness, so he's got like a more milder sort of safari package he's working on as well that is going to be fairly extreme by safari standards, but still quite a bit milder than this. And it's going to be the kind of thing that you could bolt onto a regular car, whereas the Baja 911 has literally like a tube frame integrated into sections of 911. Like, it's really, really crazy that it looks as much like a 911 as it is. Like, the wheelbase has been lengthened. You know what I mean? It's like it's got all these geometry changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I just think it looks great. I just think it looks so good. The white, it helps show all the curves. There's amazing curves everywhere on this thing. And then you open the door and it's like, oh, here's some diamond pattern leather and, et cetera, and it feels nice.
It's really nice.
And man, is it fun.
Yeah.
Fuck, was it fun.
I mean, I had as good a time driving that thing as driving anything ever. I mean, and you'll see it in the video. I mean, I'm just like...
I'm fixed your mood.
Shocked
100%.
over and over and over and over. I'm just repeatedly, everything I attempt to do with it, I'm then absolutely shocked at how well it does it. Whether it's big slides, hitting fucking 90 on whoops, hitting 90 in a wash, or climbing a hill or whatever. I did a bunch of silly shit in it, and like, it's super, super sick. And it just, it rips. I mean, look at the weight transfer of it when you shift. It's it really leans up. It's amazing.
Music.
No, music. Music, no. Music, no. But that was what I did on Wednesday.
Good job, TJ.
Yep. Oh, boy. And then this weekend, my Lamborghini broke.
Yeah. What happened?
There's the Venturi tunnel. Yeah. Fortunately, it's nothing big. I mean, it's we believe it's the coil, which it's an old school car, right? So it's a coil that goes to a distributor and then to spark plugs, and so it's not a huge deal. It's just an old part that took a shit, and we didn't have one. Yeah. The experience, it was a frustrating experience, as you can imagine. But it's the car is. It was mainly frustrating because of where I had to sit and for how long. But it happens.
Yeah,
old car shit, and I got other things to drive. We'll get back there.
I mean, I had coil pack go bad plenty of times, like everybody does. It's just a part to fail.
Yeah, but did yours shut yours is a coil pack, so you could keep driving the car.
True. I mean, on 3 cylinders. Remember, you got in the car and you're like, "Why is this running like this?"
Oh yeah, that wasn't good. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I had the whole thing.
The whole thing.
It was running and then it wasn't.
Oh man,
it was a bummer. Yeah. We got questions. I bet we do. Let's organize some of them. I bet there's a few. What else did I have written down? Ducati Monster. People in the comments of my Instagram were fucking up in arms about the fact that the new Ducati Monster doesn't have the trellis frame anymore. I have never ridden a Ducati Monster before, any Ducati Monster. So I'm getting in there from scratch. And as someone who has no purist fantasies whatsoever about the Ducati Monster. I don't give a shit about the trellis frame. I'll tell you what is awesome. This bike, if you are my size, and if you want to use me as a fit model, I'm 6'3" and 260 pounds. If you want to use me as a fit model, I'm like a Ducati Monster for me would be like Zach on a Grom. And it's a small bike, but it's this new design, this new architecture they have for it. It saves 40 pounds off the old bike. 40 on a motorcycle.
That's a lot.
That's so much.
That's at least
so
10%,
much.
maybe more on that bike.
That's like cutting hundreds of pounds from a car. Jeez. And I'm embarrassed to say because I haven't done the reading yet. I'm not sure what engine it has. I want to say it's like an 800
LS.
It's LS, yeah.
800. I don't know.
If you want to look up what the new Ducati Monster is, I think it's an 800. But it's really light. It revs like a motherfucker. It doesn't have the amazing quick shift with like auto rev matching that the Multistrada had. But if you are above third gear, you can shift without the clutch without it interrupting your flow. Like, I don't think it's a hydraulic actuator. I think it's just a basic like racing shifter, but like it's really, really good like that. And the bike is so fucking light and small and agile, and I've had a bunch of fun riding it so far. So if you give a shit about it doesn't having a trellis frame anymore, I don't even know. I tried to ask I ran into a friend of mine the other day, like literally yesterday, in my neighborhood, who I'd never seen on a motorcycle before. But there he was standing next to a Ducati Monster from like 2 years ago. And I go, oh, hey, I didn't even know you had a bike. He goes, yeah, I got this one. And I go, I'm riding the new one. And he goes, it doesn't have the trellis frame. I go, oh, okay, yeah. Why is that bad? And he goes, because that's what it's got. That's what the thing is. And I go, okay, but if it didn't have that, like, why would it be bad? He goes, well, because usually, you paint it red and the engine's black. It looks cool. And I go, that's it? And he goes, yeah, pretty much. And I go,
but
okay.
Functionally, why is that bad?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand if it's like when Porsche went to water-cooled or whatever. The Corvette went mid-engine, some kind of fundamental change. But I always thought the Monster was like the good, like kind of naked city bike, all-around bike.
It's their SV650.
Exactly, right. Universal sport bike, right? Sport naked bike. I didn't say like, oh, it has to have this thing, so I don't give a shit. And as someone who doesn't give a shit, that is a fucking good motorcycle. I mean, I rode it for 10 minutes, and then I was like, I might have to buy this. Like, and I don't think I'm gonna, because I don't want to own a motorcycle. But like, I was like, oh shit, this is fucking fun. Really fun.
I've always liked the naked bikes.
What is the engine? Can we look it up? I feel stupid for not knowing. I haven't made the film, so here we go. 937 cc, 111 horsepower at 9250, and 69 pound-feet at 6500. See, that's a great power band. You got your peak torque right at the meat of the power band, and it fucking revs to like 10.5.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's great.
It rips. It's really fun. It feels like a big Grom. It's so sweet.
Yeah, I always liked them. Always liked those bikes.
So, I mean, I haven't done my film yet, and I haven't taken in the canyons yet. I've only ridden around the city, but it is fucking fun. Really fun.
It's got a good profile. I like the little short pipes it's got.
Yeah, and it sounds cool. It goes brap.
I mean, it better.
It goes brap.
They've always sounded great. Ducati,
yeah, I'm really a fan, and I'm surprised. I didn't expect to be comfortable on it. I thought it would be too small, and when I get it, I'm like, this is small, but I'm not uncomfortable. It's just like I feel like I'm riding a small bike, but I fit. Okay. So I'm happy with that. As a city bike, this is rad. Clutch isn't too heavy. Really nice. Different ride modes. You got your sport, your tour, wet. Traction. It has traction control, ABS. So it's pretty cool for ripping around the city. It's pretty good. I over 85, the wind was blowing me around a little bit, but that's the way of the world.
You just tuck down, right? Lay on the tank.
Yeah, if you got a highway commute, I would not recommend this. This is it's a city bike, and then you hit the canyons on the weekend, and good well-rounded motorcycle. So I got a video eventually with that, but we're gonna make it soon. Those are the things. Rumblestrip.net says, if you had $90,000 to spend, would you choose a Boxster GTS or a C8 Corvette convertible? Spending your own money.
Boxster GTS, because I don't like the way the Corvette looks. I admit it is a great car. In every objective way, it's a very good car. Subjectively, I do not like the way it looks.
I don't, not for the same reasons. I think the Corvette is amazing, but I wouldn't buy the base car. I would buy the Z06 if that were a thing yet. It's not quite there. And the Boxster GTS 4.0 is a fabulous product. Get it with a manual. It's really, really comfortable, easy to use. And, you know, for me, that tightness, that precision outweighs a little bit the extra torque and speed that you get from the regular C8.
Yeah, the Boxster's going to be plenty fast for me.
Yeah.
It's going to feel very good, but I also just look at it all the time.
Alex says, have I talked to Guy Fieri about Anthony Bourdain? No, I have not. Before Carl died, he said that Anthony Bourdain said to Guy in his presence that the feud thing was hyped up for kind of ratings, and he didn't really feel that way.
I didn't know there was a feud between them.
Yeah, he shat on Guy Fieri a bit, and I think it at the time of peak foodie, you know, Guy's thing is so democratic. You know, I mean, yeah, it can get a little hokey with the donkey sauce and shit, but like, you know, it was a little. Anthony Bourdain was about finding these secrets that not necessarily everybody could find, whereas Guy would be bringing everybody in,
I gotcha.
indiscriminately.
Right.
It helped, I think, solidify Bourdain's sort of foodie status at the time. I think if he was still alive, and he probably would have moved past it by now. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I talked about it with Carl a bunch. I never talked about it with Guy. Let's see. Danny says, at what level does horsepower top driving feel or fun? When does horsepower outweigh driving feel? Well, when you don't have enough of it. If I had 35 horsepower, I wouldn't care how good it felt, because if I couldn't get up a hill.
ask the people that drive a 2CV though, and they love it.
Yep.
You know, Sam and Hardigree and Harris and Andrew Frankel, they're all like, it goes 12 miles per hour, but damn it, do they love it. So I don't think horsepower might ever supersede it, because if you have a car that's 1,200 horsepower, we've done this. You've been in GTRs that had like 1,000 horsepower, and the owner
it's
told us
easy
he
to go
was
the
bored.
other way.
Right.
Someone was just bugging me on Instagram about offered me a 2,500 horsepower GTR to drive, and I said, well, on the kind of road I would film on, it would be exactly the same as a 1,000 horsepower GTR. There is no difference. And they didn't really want to hear that, and I shouldn't have said it because it engaged in a conversation I didn't want to have.
I mean, but rent a runway, and then we could do that. But
yeah, but even so, whatever. But I just don't care. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, like if you have to have, if you want that much power, it needs to have a task. You're gonna go runway racing,
right?
Sure,
but it's going to be a singular task. I think once you hit a certain power level, whereas fun can be, you can have fun braking, turning, all these different things.
Yeah. Spencer said, "What is your take on the Mach-E GT? Press cars, as far as I know, are not available yet. I'm sure somebody will call me when one is. You know, I don't like to have a take on a car we haven't driven yet. When one is available, we certainly are going to drive it. But I mean, we know what it's going to be, right? It's going to be the big ones are going to be, it's faster, 100 horsepower or so faster, and mag ride. And so I don't care about the extra power. If you ask me, my car's fucking fast. I mean, how often do I go foot to the floor in my existing Mach-E? Handful of times since I've owned it.
Do you think the GT will have Kentucky Derby mode?
Bro.
Competition mode?
What's above unbridled? Wild stallions with Ys.
What's the fastest a horse has to run? I don't know.
Yeah, triple crown mode.
Jockey mode.
The Preakness. Yeah, Derby mode is probably what's up. Yeah.
Derby mode.
But I do think, if I have a criticism of our Mach-E, it's that the ride, while it's fine, it's a little bit economy car-ish. It's clearly got just basic ass shocks in a pretty basic setup, and so when it gets bumpy, it can be a little bit just sort of bouncy and unrefined. Whereas a magnetic ride shock with real body control, I'm sure will be fabulous. So I don't really give a shit about the power, but I might give a shit about the body control.
So I read through it. So Weirenfeld said, Zach, do me a favor. Say the Arab word Amir out loud, then say Lotus Amir, and he ... So I texted Corey Burns, who works at Commedia and does PR for Lotus. And yeah, the Lotus, I said Amira in the video, and it's pronounced Amira. But the Avaya is Avaya. So it's like, that's a hard I. So I thought the Amira was also a hard I. It is a soft I.
Oh, okay.
Now, we'll see if that impacts how well they sell. I don't know.
Okay.
I think it'll
be
fine.
Noted. Sure. Tarmac TV DM'd Zach about using the hydrogen road trip story in a research paper, and they got an A. The smoking tire has officially been referenced in a formal academic setting.
Excellent.
Michael says, given the chance, which roadkill cars would you love to drive and which would you avoid like the plague?
I don't know them well enough offhand, but I think they made a pre-runner style Charger, and that one.
I'll go with what Zach said. I don't know any. I'm sorry. I'm sure.
Or one of their gassers.
I'm sure they're nice guys. I don't know. Cool. Doesn't one of them have like a fucking 1,500 horsepower boat?
Yeah, Finnegan does.
All right, great. I'll drive that. That sounds good.
It's crazy.
That sounds like my kind of fucking move. Let's do that. Chris says, thoughts on an NE Miata that is supposed to have a hybrid powertrain? That doesn't sound right to me. That doesn't sound right.
Hybrid Miata?
Yeah, who wants that? Nobody wants that.
I'd be surprised if they'd make it.
They just went through all that trouble to make the ND Miata the same weight as the NA Miata. Why would they add?
Been out by now?
16.
So 5. Yeah.
Why would they add a bunch of batteries
before they would do anything to it?
I mean, we would see a hybrid CX-5, CX-9, CX-3 before we see a hybrid Miata.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
correct.
We don't even have. It's not even a turbo Miata yet. I don't see that happening. David Zumont says, what is the best day to go to Car Week if you can only go 1 or 2 days? Well, it depends what events you want to go to. I mean, if I had to go to 2 events, I would go to the Quail and Monterey Historics, the races. The races are Saturday.
Correct.
That's pretty much, I
agree.
The Concours itself is okay, but not really the highlight of I'd rather go to the Tour d'Elegance on, I believe it's Thursday, which is where they drive all the cars that are in the concourse. They have to make the drive down 17-mile drive. And so you get up early in the morning, you pack a little fucking picnic and a coffee or like a thing to make coffee on the side of the road, and you go get your spot on the side of 17-mile drive, have your little breakfast picnic, and every car that will be on the lawn on Sunday will come motoring right by you.
Yeah, do that, because then you get
Zero
to hear the
footsteps
cars
involved. Yeah,
that's why the Historics is great.
And you get to get really good action photos of the cars going by, and you don't have to buy a ticket. You're just there.
Yeah.
Cho Ray bought the stupid book, The Basic Laws of Human Stupidity, and discovered that 90% of the people that he encounters are indeed stupid. I hope that by reading the book and maybe eliminating some of those stupid people from your life or some of those stupid encounters, you can free up some mental space. Treviso wants to know what Zach thought of the Western Massachusetts back roads.
Amazing shape. I mean, it's like New York back roads. They're really, really great, surrounded by trees.
But with homes on them, right?
The problem is that there seems to be people living everywhere, like spread out just enough to make you think the next turn will be free and you could drive fast, but over the next turn there's a barn or a house or an antique store or something. So I never felt good. The one section we filmed on, like, that was fine, but I didn't feel good on the transits going fast. It just always feels a little busy. There's always a mailbox. How's there always a mailbox?
Well, You know, it's like
beautiful
when
out
we
there.
go to Greenwich, you know, to my parents' house. You know, on the one hand, you're spoiled a little bit by the fact that a drive from the house to the grocery store to the office is on nice, windy roads through beautiful wooded, you know, areas and whatnot, as opposed to here, where it's a shitty grid in the 405. The flip side of that is we have our canyons where there are no homes.
Right, because it's mostly inhabitable.
Yeah, and we go up and we can do what we want, and we can make films, and no one's going to bother us, and you don't have that in other places.
Right.
Yeah, that's the difference. There's like driving roads, and then there's filming roads. You know what I mean? And they're not always the same thing.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, like one of my favorite driving road in Malibu is absolutely unsuitable for filming because it's fucking one way. Well, that's not going to work.
Just go around and around and around.
That literally is, again, it's like, nope, DOA. Prashanth is buying a 911 cup car. Oh, sorry. Oof. Says, should I buy a cup car and trailer it to the track, or should I buy a GT3? Also, is a GT2 slower than a cup car? Yes, all Porsche road cars are slower than even a couple of generations old cup cars. Cup cars are fast, really fast. A cup car is probably 15 seconds a lap faster than a GT3 around Brainerd.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, it's enormously different.
Wow.
Slicks, real downforce. I mean, it's a huge different thing. I mean, look, there is no substitute for a real race car. A GT3. Well, I don't want to bury the lead, but I quoted Cat Williams in my road and track piece. Is that a GT3 only feels like a cup car till a cup car pulls up. It's not really the same thing. I mean, here's the difference. If you're going to do a couple of track days a year, 1, 2, 3, your GT3 is perfectly fine. You'll have fun. You'll enjoy yourself. You'll set a nice time. The car is totally capable of that. You're not going. You won't break it under normal circumstances. To buy a GT3 and then a trailer and then a truck and then safety gear, you know, you got to be pretty committed to going to the track to make use of all that shit because it takes up a lot of space and you can't drive the car on the street. You know, so a GT3 does not approach the experience of a cup car in the ways that really matter. But you can use it to go to the grocery store, you know. So,
right.
It's really about how much space, time, and money you've got to work with.
The upside of a race car is that when you're there on the track driving, you're not thinking, if I go too hard, I can't get home.
Right.
Or I'm going to stack this investment piece, which, like, you know, the 993.
Right.
Or sorry.
What would I tell
GT3
my
would be.
insurance company?
Right. I got to drag it out to the street and say, I wasn't at the track. No, I just with the same road everybody else crashes. Weird. So I think that's a real thing because if you're driving your street car on the track, there's a party that's going to hold back a little bit or be worried, or you could end up having a very big problem. Mm-hmm. So. Mm-hmm.
K. Kowalik says, is the WRX the only option for all-wheel drive, reliable, fun transport for $15,000 to $20,000? Coming out of a Wrangler, so everything will seem fun. I just want some character to the car, like the Wrangler.
For
all-wheel drive, fun with a Wrangler. Well, you want to drive on the right-hand side of the car? If so, Japan has solutions.
Yeah, that'd be rad.
I mean,
but you can get like a used Audi S3 or even like an A3.
Yeah.
Mazda Speed 6 used
The
one.
Mazda,
all-wheel drive?
the Mazda Speed 6 was all-wheel drive. It's front-wheel drive base, but it's all-wheel drive. 20. I mean, you got to be able to get a lot of used Audi in general for $20,000, and also like that'll get you into a Golf R. It's not not much character, but that'll get you into a used Golf R.
I like those cars. They're fun.
What else is?
My brother bought a Honda Pilot for around that
super
money.
fun.
A lot of character.
Yeah,
it's very reliable though.
Oof. I mean, that's a tough place to be.
You know what you should try to do? Try to find a highway patrol that is auctioning off the V8 Chargers that have all drive. That was in Colorado. Fucking sweet.
Oh yeah.
V8. I mean, I don't know if you can get them like as a pedestrian, but they're so cool.
The police auction guy I talked to said that they all blow their valves at 50,000 miles. That may be a thing to worry about.
Okay.
How about a used Mini Countryman?
That was fun.
Yeah, that was okay.
We drove that in the dirt.
Countryman S all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
First gen. Those are okay.
Yeah. Buy it for 15. Right. Have 5 in the bank to fix it.
Yeah. Even the Paceman. You might be able to find a Paceman, which is an all-wheel drive 2-door Mini. Is very rare.
That'd be good.
How about? Can you get an X1? The first gen X1
for 20, probably.
First gen X1 is pretty good. You can get that with a stick.
Yeah, and those
or
are
Forester
fast.
XTs.
That's the cheaper option.
Yeah.
And the more reliable one compared to the German stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be the move, I think.
Mm-hmm. Andre Brody says, thoughts on, what is that?
Maggiore Project M, isn't that
Maggiore Project M. I've never heard of that. Zach will find out in a picture. What is it? What is it? You will tell me? Oh, there's some weird... We have to accept the cookies. Oh. Is that a 308? It's a 308. What is this? What are we doing? Are we reimagining the 308? It looks like this looks like a reimagined 308 of sorts. I don't know what the specs are. It's not too ugly. It's a nice looking car. What do we do? Is there go up there our resto mod? Let's see what the specs are, if they are anything. Project M, okay, bodywork is, oh boy. There's a lot of words here. Keep going.
Well, they scanned it.
Laser scan of 308. Okay, has a new engine block. They have no specifics.
Carbon fiber chassis and billet aluminum components.
Extra weight, okay. But it's very light on specifics. I mean, apparently they've done things.
I guess they're building something that it says building a dream. We don't know what the dream is. Once we know, we can get back to you.
I could guess that the dream is a modern performance in a Ferrari 308. I don't, really give a shit about that kind of stuff. I'd like to have a go. If someone brought one over and said, "Would you like to try this?" I definitely would. I'm not sure that you need to spend I'm kind of interested to see what a Singer or Gunther-ized 308 might be, kind of. But owning a 328, I also already know it's not really going to be that great.
Well, but I think if they can make it great, what I think is exciting about this stuff is if there's a car that when you saw it as a kid or you see it, just the exterior of it, you go wow. And you're like, that car has all the possibilities. I bet it's amazing. And then if you talk to someone and they go, actually, it doesn't do this very well.
I owned a DeLorean, remember?
Exactly. So think of DeLorean. So if they can take one of these and make it wow you from the driver's seat as well, I think that's fun. Kind of like the Guntherwerks or the Singer stuff.
Sure, but I think that the reason the DeLorean was so disappointing and the reason that it would be hard to bring a 308 up to that level, for Ferrari to bring the 308 up to that level, they had to turn the engine the other way. They didn't do it with a transverse motor. They went longitudinal to get that done. And I just don't like, the things that made it so hard to improve the DeLorean, knowing what I know about 328s now, I think it would be very hard to improve, really hard to improve it in the ways that would result in a well-rounded product and not something that looked great in an Instagram post and on a spec sheet. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'd love to try it. I don't want to impugn someone's work before even seeing. I learned about this 30 seconds ago, but I don't know. Drews wants suggestions for a fast luxury sedan. Had a BMW 750 and a 2011 Genesis. No CTSV. Thinking C-Class, Kia Stinger GT, or another Genesis. $40K and ownable out of warranty. Genesis G70.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. That car drives great.
Yeah,
and the interior
6-cylinder
is excellent.
Yeah, really nice.
Yes,
I really enjoyed that. I would recommend. I don't know if it's under 40. It's like in the 40s.
They are now
with the 6-cylinder and the all-wheel drive or whatever. But it's in that range. That's what I would do. Yeah. Although the new C-Class does look nice. I'm interested in trying one. Trent wants to know our thoughts on the Lamborghini Technomar. That's the Lamborghini co-branded yacht. It's like a 63-foot boat with 4,000.
Right. We looked at this once.
4,000 horsepower. Yeah, it's like a fast cruiser. It has Lamborghini details on it. There's like hexagons everywhere.
Right. Yeah, a lot of Aventador in this styling. Mm-hmm. It's 4,000 horsepower.
I mean, yeah, but like my dad's boat is 1,800 horsepower. That's 32. It's not like, you know what I mean? And that's a 48-foot boat. This is a 63-foot boat. So 4,000 horsepower is like, yeah, it's a lot. But like, it
depends on how slippery it is.
Right. I mean, this boat probably does like 45 or 50, which for a 63-foot boat is fucking quick. Can you look up the top speed of that? The top speed of this boat? Let's see what it actually does. Oh, wow, 70 miles an hour. Sweet. 60 knots. Yeah, thing's fucking ripping. Cruising speed 46 miles an hour. Yeah, it's very nice. I mean, that's cool. I'm not that into the co-branded boats where it's the AMG one or the Aston Martin one, because typically it's styling cues. This doesn't have Lamborghini engines, does it? I don't believe it does. At one point, Lamborghini made marine engines. There was marine versions of the Diablo engines, which were fucking crazy. And there's one on a stand at Lambo. This looks like it's a little more, styled. But it does look cool.
It does.
Wouldn't kick it out of bed.
It'd be fun.
I saw a Wally yesterday in Marina Del Rey. It was fire. You ever see a Wally Power? Google Wally Power 118. It's like some James Bond shit. Crazy looking boat.
Whoa.
Yeah, it looks like a F-117 like stealth fighter.
Oh my God.
I saw one fucking rooster tailing back from like Malibu into Marina Del Rey.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
James Bond. It's like, it would just be a scene where he's just going from one place to another, and you're like, what's that boat? And they don't even talk about it. It's just a exposition scene, but they're on this thing.
Yeah. Super sick,
wow.
Right? Yeah. What else we got? That's a good shot of it. Wesley says, it's my first time going to SEMA this year. Any advice or tips? Don't get COVID.
Wear comfortable shoes.
Yep.
You will walk 8 miles that day. You will.
Yep. Comfortable shoes. Drink. Lots of water. Mm-hmm. Lots of water. And if you really have to get work done during the day, try not to get too shithoused at night, because it'll be fucking brutal. And eat lots of food from the Far East. Chinese, Thai, Vietnamese. Vegas has the best of that shit. Go off the strip.
Yeah.
Eat local.
Lotus of Siam, right?
They have a second location now, Lotus of Siam. Yeah. Night Market has a Vegas location as well. Let's see. Siwa says, does a 1990 Acura Legend 4-door automatic have a chance of becoming desirable to enthusiasts? Thoughts comparing it to an LS400? Well, it's no LS400.
It was not a Mercedes S-Class competitor.
No, it's a tarted up Accord, fundamentally.
You're not an S-Class, you're a tarted up Accord.
No, look, the Legend was a good car. I learned to drive stick on an 80s Legend 6-speed, or 5-speed, I think. And it was and they made a fine quality product. And I think, if you were to check recent prices, like really, really mint, Legends probably are desirable to enthusiasts. A 6-cylinder manual with low miles and great shape would probably bring a shockingly high dollar value.
Yeah.
A 6-speed manual coupe in mint condition would bring a ton of money. Same thing for Lexuses. And your average LS400 with 1 million miles on it doesn't fucking do anything for anybody. But the nicest one around is worth some money. I mean, it's not like we're all of a sudden going to wake up tomorrow and go, hold on a minute, you guys. We have been sleeping on the Legend. we know about the legend. The really nice ones will be desirable as collectible cars. The less desirable ones will be remembered for being somewhat durable used cars. And the other ones will go in the fucking junk pile.
Right. Yeah.
Andrew says, word on Blackwing press cars. The Blackwing press launch is happening right now. Haven't you followed anyone's Instagram, Andrew? Every automotive journalist ever is at the Blackwing press launch right now. We didn't get an invite. I don't know if that's because I was really not happy with their last batch of cars, or because they know that we'd rather just have a car here than go fly somewhere and
they're launching it at VIR, right? Are they at VIR?
It's at VIR, yeah. That's where GM powertrain performance guys really like to go. But I will, as soon as a press car is available in Los Angeles, I am excited to have a go. I am. Thank you for your donation, Bartek. Martin wants to know updates on my cars. The Countach we just did. This Ferrari is perfectly fine, and the Safari, as of yesterday, sold. Sold it! It's gone. It's going. It's going to be on a truck.
Official announcement.
Yeah. You heard it here, folks. Heard it here first, folks.
As you should.
It's gone. It's going. We will miss it. And the reason I'm selling it is not because it is a bad car, not because there's anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It operates exactly as it's supposed to operate. You know what doesn't operate the way it's supposed to operate, Zach? My knees. My bad fucking knees. And I just have 3 old cars, all of which have heavy clutches. This one has the heaviest clutch. And, you know, it's over the last few months has been slowly driven, you know, kind of less and less. And here, even when you own a huge car storage place like this, if a car's not being driven, it takes up a lot of space, it takes up a lot of resources, it takes up a lot of time. And let's be honest, the market's on fire for stuff like this. So I was able to have a little come up and move on, and I'm sure you'll see that car. The person who's buying it is not going to paint it, so you'll see it somewhere doing something, I'm sure. And I have other plans, which we will not discuss yet, but I have other plans. So there's that. I'm sure that's not what that person wanted to hear about that car, but you know what? That's why we don't say forever about cars anymore. We like these cars, and then eventually, you know.
If you've had the experience, and now you can go have a different experience.
Yeah.
Sure.
I put 6,400 miles on the Safari.
Wow. That's more than I thought.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a bunch.
Yeah. How long have you had it? 3 years?
I got it in end of 18. So, yeah, 3 years. So, you know, it's not bad. It's a pretty good run. Yeah. I sold it with 99,300 miles on it.
Wow. Right before that big service at 100. No, I'm just kidding.
I had Marco build a 200,000 mile engine.
I know. Yeah.
It's
good.
Next person's getting a fucking winner.
They are. It's fun.
Young Cotter wants to know what was the coffee drink in the Soda Stream. It was espresso. Wait, what was it? Oh, wait. No, it was cold brew, sparkling water, and the coffee fruit syrup. But you have to make the coffee fruit syrup. You got to find coffee fruit somewhere, which is like a dried. It looks like dried berries or dried flowers, kind of, and you steep them and create a syrup. The better one is that they do at Minotti's is actually the espresso and tonic with the orange rind. That is very, very nice. It was very, very nice. What'd you just do there? Oh boy. Oh, we got a lot going on here.
Yeah, 5 more, and then.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Live show at Coda for the F1 race still happening? No idea. That got sidelined.
Was that a thing?
Yeah, we talked about doing the Airstream thing or something. Maybe it can happen if we can find some funds. If the guys want to do the thing, but we'll see. I don't know. Sorry, Jack Martin says, looking at a Pepsi Seiko to buy in the future. Are there any models that are worth looking at for under 500? Yeah, I mean, Seiko turtles are between 350 and 500. You can get a variety of different dial colors, bezel colors. I'm wearing a custom Seiko turtle right now that is called by Pierre Dubé Watchworks in Canada that retails for around 600. But yeah, I mean, even if you just go on Amazon and type in Seiko turtle, you can get a turtle for under 500 for $300 to $500. Absolutely. Let's see. Scouting for Zen is browsing County Caliber and comparing Omega Speedmaster reduced to Seiko Presage chronographs. Which would I buy? I like Speedmaster, but I don't buy them because they are not water resistant, and I get my hands wet very often. So I would probably ruin a Speedmaster. But
yeah,
they're not water
washing
resistant.
Your hand, like if it's not water
you probably
resistant,
won't ruin one just washing your hands, but I wouldn't shower with one. Whereas like a lot of the other watches I like, including the Braymonts and the Rolexes and stuff like that, are water resistant with screw down crowns and whatnot. So that's just, but I understand. On the other hand, a lot of people love Speedmasters. JF wears a Speedmaster. A lot of people wear Speedmasters. I might get a Speedmaster eventually. I don't like the reduced. Reduced means it's smaller. It's a little smaller size. But if you have a little wrist, like Kristen was wearing the reduced because she's like a little person, and if she was wearing a full size, it would look ridiculous on her. So if you have a small wrist, the reduced is okay. But they're not really like my style, or they're not really my they don't match my practical needs. The Seiko Presage is a really nice piece. They come in a million different styles. I don't know which ones you're talking about, but it's a nice piece of hardware, and I think has some water resistance to it. Can't really go wrong there. Michael Day wants to know, why does the Chevy SS still sell for $35K and up? For a car that never sold, they still list for insane amounts. Well, that's because they have a dedicated following, and at the same time they stopped kind of making them, everyone else stopped making rear-wheel drive manual transmission stuff too. So if you want a rear-wheel drive manual transmission car, your options are limited.
Yeah, and there's very few options with an American V8 in it, let alone one as good as a Chevy small block.
Yeah, there's not a lot of options.
G8 GXP still commands good money.
Yeah, and they're 10
years old. It should be no surprise the SS is.
Yeah, and the SS is just a nicer version of that. It shouldn't be that surprising. You can't buy a better driving car, with more practicality and features and a manual for less money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dimitri says...
His question actually can be answered by the previous one. Dimitri, he says BMW, Mercedes, or Audi for four-door sedan sportiness, overall reliability, sport driving, and daily driver feel. You should just get a Chevy SS because you put reliability in there.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't really want to own with the exception of the older Mercedes or the older, I don't want to own any BMW, Audi, or Mercedes in between 2 years old from now and 2002. It needs to be before 2002 or brand new.
Really? 2014, like C63 AMG? It seems so fun. Oh, I do.
I mean, it'd be fun, but I don't want to pay to fix that if it goes wrong.
Oh, definitely not.
So I'm saying
definitely,
reliability.
Yeah. Right.
It's not that it's unreliable. It's that if I owned a Mercedes, and a fan shroud, the cooling fan shroud broke. It's $1,100.
Wow.
It wasn't a special fan shroud, just a Mercedes fan shroud. You know what I mean? So
still plastic.
Yeah. So, that's what that is. And so this is a weird question because it's asking for three different things here. Reliability, sport, daily driving feel. I mean, I don't know. BMW's getting floaty. Audi has the
and
good.
expensive.
Audi's got the good multimedia, and Mercedes are probably the most fun to drive right now.
Yeah.
And they have very complicated multimedia systems.
Right.
So there you go. Reliability, I don't know. We don't follow reliability. We drive press
look at
cars.
Consumer Reports, honestly.
Yeah, we drive press cars, and if they break on us, we tell you.
But none of these will be problem free. I'm going to go ahead and guess that.
But no, is anything problem free?
No. But there are things, the nicer the car is when it's new.
Yeah.
The more complicated it is. We know that. So more variables.
All right. That's what we got.
That's what we got.
We're back tomorrow.
Yeah. With
Serio and Cam in the afternoon, evening, whiskey, whiskey and bullshit. It's going to be a whiskey and bullshit show.
Talking about...
We're driving the e-tron GT during the day tomorrow, so I hope there's a break in between the two. I hope.
Sleep in the car on the way back.
Yeah, you will. Will I drive?
Or I will while you drive.
Or will Uber.
Yeah. And shameless self-promotion, rated is on Haggerty, and with new episodes up today about the Evora GT, in which I pronounce the name of the Amira wrong, and I also start a fight with the Hemsworth family.
Cool.
So check that out on Haggerty. They don't know. They probably never will. They're busy.
They might find out.
Or they might find out.
All right. That's our show. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for the live show. If not, catch us next time wherever you download podcasts. That's it. See you later.